Three, two, one. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another episode of the BigMx Radio podcast. This episode is brought to you by Race Tech. Winter is here, and it's probably time that you pulled the suspension off of your motorcycle and got it serviced. Lord knows you don't get it serviced as much as you should, and your bike would handle better if you did. Go ahead and look up Race Tech. The gold valves I have in my KTM are an absolute lifesaver, especially if you run out of talent as often as I do. I am your host, Brad Gebhart. With me on the line, a guy who doesn't run out of talent very often, but it happens to us all at the best of times. He is an amateur superstar. He's a champion and one of my favorite guests to have on the podcast, especially when it comes to amateur racing. I had him on for the first time in 2018. Here we are 7 years later. Kade Johnson, welcome to the podcast.
How are you doing?
Hey, not doing too bad, brother. I'm just smiling ear to ear on this side of the table because honestly, like we're gonna get into it a little bit, but you were given an opportunity to ride with Team Green Kawasaki over this last week, or I guess the last 10 days prior to this last week, at Minio's, switching colors for the first time since you were on a 65, which is pretty wild. I guess before we get into the results of the weekend and the week and how it went, both motocross and supercross, tell me a little bit about how this came together, who reached out, and ultimately, how did you end up with a lime green ditch pickle in your in the garage and made the quick adjustment to the green machine? Tell me about it.
Yeah, so I was training at the dog pound, and first off, I don't think many people knew that I was a privateer. I mean, obviously, Altus helped out a ton, and I'm not taking anything away from them, but I wasn't on the Altus team, and so a lot of people didn't know I was a full privateer, and so I was training at the dog pound, and my 450 transmission went out, and my 250 transmission went out, and they were like, "All right, well, when do you get your new bikes? When do your new bikes come in?" And we were like, well, whenever we go to the dealership and purchase the new bikes, and there it was like, oh my gosh, I didn't realize you were this deep of a privateer. Let me see if I can get something. Dan Truman said that. Let me see if I can get something done. So next Monday, I do my Supercross motos, and then he comes to me and he was like, "Hey, I got this opportunity to ride Team Green. It's kind of like a one race kind of deal." We don't know. There's nothing guaranteed from it. There's no. It's just trying to show the world that I'm not a privateer, and it's a great bike, great team. So I was like, sweet, I'll do that. And so then I switched to motocross. I got like 5 hours or no, 7 hours on motocross. I was mainly just testing. I had like one actual day of training on the bike, and then I went to Minio's, and the rest is history.
Okay, so for those who aren't fully up on all things Kade Johnson, Yamaha released the YZ65 back in 2018, and you were essentially their flagship rider. You were one of the first guys who rode it. You were the first one of the guys who tested it, and yeah, you've sort of been with the Yamaha brand ever since. In fact, most people haven't seen you ride anything but a Yamaha. Obviously, when you were on 80s and Super Minis and all the two-stroke stuff is kind of completely separate from what you have now. You've been on four strokes for the last number of years. You've had some success. And if we spin the clocks back to Loretta's, it was a very successful, and I would think kind of like a breakout week for you, where in the pro sport motos, if I'm not mistaken, you led laps in all but one moto. You got better throughout the week. In fact, if you had finished fourth place in the first moto in 250s Pro Sport, like you did in the Open Pro Sport, you would have had two second place overall finishes behind Enzo Temmerman, who basically put on a clinic along with yourself the entire week. So that must have gotten a few people sort of like you're on people's radar big time after that, especially because you had I'd say kind of an up and down B season last year. Am I correct in that?
Yeah, yeah. So the B season was kind of tricky. I mean, I was always riding good, but I wasn't necessarily going to a race and dominating. And it was the stock class season. But it was also it was up and down season. And it wasn't a very stacked class either, to be honest. Limited class really isn't ever stacked class, and the results weren't terrible, but for how I guess quote unquote easy the class was, I feel like I should have been doing better. But anywho, at Loretta's in the limited class, I was really sick, so I would have done a lot better that week. But I got sick, and a lot of people don't know that. But anywho, back to this year. So we were getting kind of the ball rolling. And honestly, I think my first big breakout ride, I guess, of this year, I would say, honestly, even bigger than the rest was the combine and at Redbud. I went the first moto, I went around the first corner in like second or third to dead last, passed all the way up to third. In the first moto. Second moto, I was doing the same, but then I was in like fifth or something like that. I had the podium spot, but then my bike blew up. So probably didn't get enough credit for those rides that I did because
Right.
of my bike growing up. But um,
Sorry to
yeah,
interrupt you, but do you also feel that because you also won futures at, I believe it was East Rutherford in the mud, everyone's like, yeah, he won, but it's a mud race. Like almost like I would be heartbroken if I won a race and everyone's like, ah, it doesn't count. I'm like, I think it counts.
yeah. I mean, it's kind of tricky because it's like at the end of the day, everyone lined up and everyone had a chance, the equal chance to win the race, and I went out and
Yeah.
I won it. But the best thing is to back it up. And so Loretta's, I did pretty solid. I mean, Enzo did amazing. Obviously, I like to do as good as Enzo, but I think I was the second best rider that week. And then the Supercross, the playoffs, I got second behind Manier, and I think right there I backed it up too. Like I've just continuously been proven that the people, because there's a lot of people for sure in my class that kind of under their breath were like, it was just mud. He's not that good. He shouldn't be celebrating, and just kind of salty about it. But which I think you shouldn't be doing it. You should be celebrating the victories of others. But yeah, trying to back up the results and just keep the ball rolling. And then I ended up doing really good at mini O's, which was really sweet under very little time of preparation. So yeah.
All right, so let's spin the clocks forward to Minios. Like you said, you got a very little bit of time on the Kawasaki to get ready. Also, brand new gear for you. You've been a moose rider for a long, long time. You had a different furry critter on you for the weekend. I'm sure, like also boots different. Like people that are
Every,
talking about, like that's like different.
everything.
Actually, wait, the helmet's the same. You're a Bell helmet guy, right?
Goggles and tires were the same. Everything else was different.
Hey,
Actually,
so
yeah, maybe pegs. I'm not sure about pegs, but other than that, everything was
yeah.
different. It
So
wasn't the same.
needless to say, for those in the future, if anyone's questioning whether or not you can adjust to a motorcycle in short order, the answer is yes, because ultimately, from all the footage and the results that I saw, didn't look like you missed a beat, man. Going from a reverse engine to a forward engine, Kawasaki. Like I said, you haven't had anything but a blue or a white fender in front of you for a long, long time. And kind of take me through that a little bit and sort of the support that Team Green had for you under the truck and just kind of getting you sort of acclimated and feeling good about what you're doing on the track. Tell me about the week a little bit.
Yeah, they were the whole Team Green organization was amazing. First off, they got the bike out really quick. Team Green, Fox, Rental, all those people that help facilitate getting parts out quickly before Minios here for testing and whatever else. And then we got there, and then they were all just super nice. They were trying to do whatever it was possible to have for me to have the best result possible, which is always a really good thing when both sides want the same goal. And yeah, everyone was great. I mean, Derek, my mechanic, Ryan, everyone was super sweet. The bike ran great. I didn't have any problems other than landing on a kid and blowing out my brake line, but that was my fault, not theirs. So, but yeah, it was a super sweet bike. Like I had no problems with the bike whatsoever. The bike honestly started amazing. The bike started really good, and so it put me in positions to get championships and set myself up for good results.
Certainly. So, I guess you like as Dan Sherman and Lord love that guy. He is someone who goes to bat for people. He sees situations that he can make better, and he does exactly that, or at least does his very best efforts. That must have meant a lot to you. But also this was like sort of there was a caveat that there's no real guarantees going forward. Um, has there been much conversation since you guys left the ranch or not the ranch, left like Unlimited Sports MX? Like, do people still call it
Yeah, Gatorback.
Gatorback? Yeah, to me it's just still Gatorback. But
Yeah.
like, what was the conversation like, or the like, don't call us, we'll call you sort of thing? What's the deal?
It's we're in a tricky situation right now, because first off, there's kind of multiple teams that are kind of coming at me now, and we're deciding
Ooh.
between all those situations, and yeah, we don't really know the future of the Team Green. They're kind of having going through some flux right now, and
Hmm.
so they don't really know if they can take me, what's going on. But I mean, obviously, but we have tons of teams, in this. So we're just deciding what's best for us, and getting all the options and weighing it out. Who knows what bike I'll be on? Hopefully it'll be a Cowie. I did like the Cowie a lot, and yeah, I guess we'll just have to prepare and be with whatever bike I'm on. I'll be able to adjust quickly and get ready for Anaheim too.
Right on. So that's good to hear. And it must be, and you could probably tell us a little bit about the ebbs and flows of amateur racing, because obviously when like Yamaha essentially uses you as the rider that they're going to move forward with in this brand new effort to have a 65, and there's events that come along with that and support and this that, other thing, and then like you had some injuries. You're tall. For those who don't know, you're like 7'5" or something along those lines. You're incredibly tall for most motocross racers. What are you, 6'3"?
Depends. With boots on, I'm probably 6'3", 6'2".
Yeah, so you're a tall guy. Most motocross champions are little guys. And for whatever reason, I know you've had some injuries as well along the way. Um, like what's it like when you're young and seems like all the eyes are on you, you're making a lot of the headlines and there's photo shoots and there's people want to throw stuff at you, and then you also become a full-blown privateer and you're buying your motorcycles, and yeah, you get some support with gear or parts or this, that, and the other thing. But the support sort of goes away, and then all of a sudden you have a week like you just had, and yeah, the phone won't stop ringing. How do you balance that? How do you manage it? I know you've got a great support system with your loving family and everyone over at the dog pound, and honestly, a guy like Dan Truman would definitely be somebody who can sort of help you like kind of navigate those waters. How are you approaching it, and yeah, how do you sort of like manage expectations and your exposure to it all, because it can't be easy.
Yeah, the motocross industry is kind of tricky in the way of getting rides and whatever else, because a team, I mean, other than Star, obviously, but if a team is full, and it doesn't matter how much you win, you can go out there and beat Jet Lawrence. If they don't have
Hmm.
a spot for you, they don't really have a spot for you. So it's kind of tricky. I mean, actually, I bet if you're beating Jet Lawrence, you can find a spot. But you get my point. Like it's tricky. Just strike when the iron's hot.
Yep.
And something that me and my family have learned is to have your stock go up. You have to go to an individual race and just be the best guy. Like, you have to win everything. You can't just like win a championship here, win a championship next race, because teams just don't value that as much as I think they should. Because it was like you said, I was a cover child for the 65 or whatever else. And to be honest with you, I mean, I don't really feel like my results dropped that much. Maybe a little bit here and there, but like I was still like worst case scenario a good top three rider, and I don't know how I fell through the cracks, but um in the point we are now, I'm just gonna try to keep improving myself, becoming a better rider, because I mean, yeah, at some point you just can't ignore the speed, hopefully, and yeah, so that's my opinions on those questions.
Fair enough. So yeah, like you ended up fourth in one class, fifth in the other, but nipping at the heels of guys like Vincent Way, Deacon Deno, Mikhail Harup's right in there. You're right in there with Carson Wood. These are all riders who have a little bit more of a straight line path of where their next 18 to 24 months looks like. Whereas 2 months ago, you didn't have that same clarity.
Mhm.
And maybe that's not any clearer today than it was 6 weeks ago. But for you, it must have felt good to be able to like basically put your riding where like just let your results speak for it and go ahead and do so. What was the biggest adjustment for you on the Kawasaki? What does it do differently the most than your Yamaha? Because I think basically the secret sauce of what makes special riders like yourself, Carson Wood, Deacon Deno, what really makes you guys special is knowing what your dirt bike's going to do when you hit that bump or when you hit that jump face. You know exactly what it's going to do, so you can push forward and just work on hitting your marks. What is it that the Kawasaki does a lot differently than the Yamaha?
So I got on the Kawasaki, and I mean, it just felt so different. Like the first day I rode it, I was like, holy moly. Like so on my Yamaha, I run slightly lowered foot pegs and slightly higher seat. And we didn't
Okay.
have time to test the high seat, so I didn't actually race with it at Minios. But the handlebars felt higher up. Um, Kawasaki had a little bit more top end, a little more over rev, but a little bit less bottom end. The Kawasaki started better. And then the Kawasaki was a little bit more, uh, I guess you could say stable. It was to make it actually turn, you had to put more weight and effort to turn it. But the on the flip side of that is it's stable in the straights. It's a little bit less herky jerky as a Yamaha. So, but it was tricky to get used to, and it was a lot more quiet. So a lot of times you feel like you're going a lot slower, but you're really not. It's just the bike's just not nearly as loud. But yeah, it was tricky to get used to. But it only took me like 2 or 3 days, and the next thing you know, I was like run the same speed as my Yamaha, then just moving on from there. So yeah.
Well, right on, man. You know I grew up on the green bikes, so when I see Team Green put out an olive branch and get somebody on a fresh ditch pickle and get the results on top of that, I'm a fan of everything on top of that. And the fact that I've had you on, this is I believe the fourth time inviting you on as a guest to the podcast. Um, I guess I'll just ask this question straight out. You're not currently locked down to a team for 2026. Um, whoever signs you for 2026, who are they getting? What kind of athlete is Kade Johnson?
That's a good question. I think an athlete that has a lot of grit. I might not always have necessarily the full raw speed, but at the end of the motos, I'll be coming. I always feel like I have more grit than a lot of the kids out there, and endurance, strength. So, and I'll work hard. So, something to prove, something to prove. So I think whoever team gets me would be lucky, and whoever it is, I'll prove them to the best standard that I can, and yeah, try to put it on the top step of the box.
Fair enough. Yeah, you got to keep on keeping on. So, what's Coco mean? What does that really come down to? I've seen it on the bike, saw it on the Yamaha, I've seen it on the Kawasaki as well. Kind of a mantra of yours. Give people a little bit of a peek behind the curtain of what Coco is all about.
Yeah, well, first off, we got to the race and we were like, it's okay if you don't let us, but can we put the Coco on the bike? And they were like, yeah, sure, whatever. I was like, sweet. But Coco is a slogan that me and my grandpa came up with when I was like 8 or 9. It's keep on keeping on, and it was originally Coco SV and then stay vertical. Those are the two things you really need to succeed in life, to win a race, whatever it may be. Just keep on keeping on. I came back from a moto one time and I was like, Grandpa, I just keep on keeping on out there. And so, yeah, it was really cool. And I guess that's what I'm gonna give to a team is I'm gonna keep on keeping on late in the motos, and if times get hard, whatever else. So yeah, we've kind of molded it and trying to be a motto of positivity and encouraging people and motivating people to be the best they can in life. So yeah, Coco SV right there.
Fair enough. So, and that's good advice for anybody. You yourself are probably you're a unique specimen when it comes to amateur motocross, and I don't mean this in with any sort of I don't mean to besmirch the good name of Kade Johnson, but you're kinder. You're in person. You're a bit gentler. You're soft spoken. You're just a good kid. And from the sponsors of yours, like Hux and Brand that I've talked to, in a sport where it is so difficult, like kids like will get sponsored and they don't make a post, or they don't shout out their sponsors properly, or they don't give back the love. They just take the product and they're like, hey, thanks, bye, see you later. You don't do that. You're somebody who speaks upon those who support him. And I know you are a kind of like, I wouldn't say a shrinking violet, but you're not as a in your face sort of athlete. And I think sometimes people see kindness as weakness. And how do you sort of dispel that, and sort of like babe, like how do you react to that statement, for one? And then also, how do you let your riding talk do the talking? Is that you're a fierce competitor, someone who's not to be messed with, and somebody who is willing to go to the like basically go to the wall for whoever supports them, because I think that's ultimately what people are looking for in an athlete to support.
Yeah. So first off, it's kind of in the talks of keeping rides, getting a ride, whatever else. It's kind of the squeaky wheel gets the grease. Whenever you're
Yeah.
constantly complaining about the bike, whatever else, trashing the bike, which is crazy to me. You could be trashing the bike. This thing is so slow. This thing handles like crap, whatever else. And for some reason, those people always the team would just give them like the best bike, and then so they would always have like a better bike than me or something like that, or and then and squeaky wheel saying, oh, look at my results, whatever else. And they would get the rides over me, and but the kindness thing, I think it's the faster I get in life, and the more sponsors I get, I think it's so important to stay nice, because I didn't like it when as a kid. I thought it was always so special, like someone like I train with him now, Seth Hammaker. He was on
Yes.
TV, and he was so nice, and it just, I mean, it just like it made me like him so much. Like he was just like, it's so
Yeah.
easy to be
He's a good
nice.
person.
It's
Like,
so easy to be
great
nice. And
motorcycle
yeah,
racer, but Seth Hamaker is a good person, per period.
yeah, yeah, exactly. And it's so easy to be nice, and just why not do it? And I think that, not if I stay nice, karma hopefully will help me on the dirt bike track. And yeah, and referring to like weakness, yeah, so anyone could think kindness is weakness, and until I run it into them in the corner, and then they're probably thinking a little differently on that. So but yeah, I honestly, I try to stay, I mean, not necessarily kind on the track, but if I don't have to clobber someone over the berm, I'm not going to try to do that either. I try to race fair, I try to race fast. By the end of the day, I want to be at the top step, and whatever helps me get there, I'm gonna do that.
Fair enough, man. So, what does the calendar and the schedule look like? I guess for the rest of the year, you probably start to focus obviously on some training, and then into the Christmas season. Christmas is going to be here in like 10 minutes, I'm pretty sure. But yeah, but then Supercross Futures is like right around the corner. How old are you, by the way?
I just turned 18.
Just turned 18. So AMA, I believe they're changing a rule that you have to be 18 to turn pro. That doesn't affect you whatsoever.
Wait, you just your mic went out. I can't hear you. I don't know. No. Nope.
Can you hear me now?
Yep. Perfect.
Okay, one sec. I gotta plug back into it because awesome. Can you hear me now?
Yep.
And I can hear you. Good. We'll edit that part out, or maybe I won't. Oh well. Um. Either way, yeah, it's not a big deal. It adds realism. It adds realism if you include your mistakes, of which I have many. What are we talking about? Oh, what do you, yeah, what are
schedule.
you doing for your schedule and what does that look like in futures and whatnot?
So I'm going to be my
SMX
next.
next. They don't call it
Yeah,
futures anymore. Anyway.
I think it'd be cool if they just called if they called the Supercross. I mean futures, and then it motocross combines, and then the SMX next being like the playoffs. I feel like you distinguish it better. But and
Yes.
I'm gonna do Anaheim too, and then the weekend after that is Houston. I'm just doing the future schedule, but it's Houston, and then Daytona, Birmingham, Philadelphia. So that's my schedule. After that, man, I don't know, whatever. It depends on how well I do and if I get a ride or whatever else. I'm open for opportunities. I can either go pros next year or I can go combines again, whatever needs to be done.
So for those SMX next rounds, the futures rounds, whatever you want to call it, will you be on a Yamaha or Kawasaki?
I don't know yet. That's to be determined
Ooh,
yet.
to be
To be determined.
determined. Fair
Yep.
enough. You're gonna come out on a Kajiva maybe, or
Yeah. Like a
uh, did you ever like you must have rode you rode what did you ride on 50s Cobras?
Cobras. What's the one brand that was like teal blue? It
TM?
was TM.
Oh,
Yep.
yeah,
Yeah.
TMs. You're not old enough to remember the Lems, do you? Or the
Mm-mm. Mm.
Poloni? Polani? Yeah, there was a bunch of weird old 50 brands from back in the day that's way before your time. You're 18, so you were born in what? Oh
Seven.
seven,
Yep.
Bro.
Bro.
Cade, I have been in the B class your entire existence.
Time to move up.
Yeah, oh yeah, that would go great for me. Yeah, I'll be lining up with you at Pro Sport when you return to the Loretta Lynn's in 10, 15 years from now. Um awesome, dude. Well, before I let you go, lay down some advice that you have for young racers who are coming up. Maybe they're just a local racer that's looking to get more seat time and enjoy the sport. Maybe they're a young amateur that is trying to make that next step. What advice would you have for any young athlete trying to better themselves in the sport of motocross?
I would say number one and kind of most obvious is have fun. It's a super fun sport. Don't stress it too much. Have fun. Work on the rough part of the track. So like work on ruts, bumps, all that good stuff. Don't just hit the jumps because the jumps will come and the ruts and the bumps will make riding rough tracks really really fun. But I would say yeah, I would say those are the main ones. I guess workout off the bike. That'd be probably a good one too. That helps me out a lot. So yeah, I would say those three.
Awesome, dude. Well, I appreciate you making some time on the podcast. Before I let you go, I know you do have some sponsors in your corner. Things might be up in the air, but yeah, I know you have some sponsors and some longtime supporters that are always in your corner. I give you an opportunity now to thank some of those people, including, of course, family.
For now, the team is to be determined, but I would say my mom, dad, sister, grandma, grandpa, the Castlemans, Prime Star,
The
uh,
Muffin Motor.
the Muffin Motor. Yep. Jake, Tiffany, Ella, Aiden. Those people, they will always be behind me, no matter what team or brand or bike or whatever I'm doing. I could be playing golf and they'd be behind me. But yeah, just my whole family. I'll probably say Monster, something like that. I would say I keep over that. BJ Burns, Nemec University, he helps out a ton. He's in my football fantasy football league. He's getting destroyed though. But yeah, those people will always be behind me, and and whatever team I'm on.
Did not expect you to be a football fan, but hey, I guess I don't know enough about you. Kade Johnson here on the BigMx Radio podcast. It's been a pleasure. After the Houston round of SMX next, you come back on and talk about it. Sound good?
Sounds good. Let's do it.
Awesome, man. Don't hang up just yet, but for podcast sake, we're gonna cut things off right
Yep.
there.